Well, hello there, everyone. It's just like Tony, except in a metal variety.
And more handsome.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyways, figured I'd bring you in for some historical perspective here because we've got a lot of great questions about factions.
And I am historical.
You're something. All right, anyways, you won't have to look in the history books for this. Let us talk about some of the greatest and worst factions in wrestling history. And we're kicking this off with @RuckFools wants to know, what would you do with the members of the Shield after they break up? I'll take this one. Ambrose would probably get an almost instantaneous main event push if he wasn't already in the main event by the time the Shield broke up. Reigns, I kind of have to see how he progresses over the next 6 to 12 months as to know where I'm going to slot him. Yeah, honestly, when I look at Reigns a lot of times, you know who I see? Test.
Yeah.
Ladies, settle down. I know you love you some Reigns and you want to pull on his hair and have his babies.
But come on.
I'm just saying. Rollins, I'm not convinced is a big-time player yet, but could he be a guy who has his own popularity and his own following in the mid-card?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not pushing Rollins to the main event yet. No, I haven't seen nearly enough. I don't care what the internet may say. @Sam Circus, who would be the members of a modern-day Evolution? So who would fill the Flair role, the Triple H role, the Orton and Batista role?
Triple H will take both the Flair and the Triple H role.
That is correct.
And then I would have to say, let's throw Curtis Axel in there. Why not?
He'd be in the Orton type role.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Third generation guy.
Yeah. And then who would be in the Batista type role?
Interesting question. Who would you put in there? I don't know.
I suppose if you're going for just a pure musclehead, which is part of the thing, you'd be looking at a guy like Roman Reigns, maybe Mason Ryan.
Yeah.
Want to put a little color in there? Maybe your favorite, Big E Langston. Well, I don't know. I mean, so there's a few options, but probably if I was looking at most upside and most potential, it'd either be Mason Ryan or it would be Roman Reigns. @Colorado MMA fan, but you're right about Triple H filling both roles. Which faction in TNA was better, Team Canada or Fortune?
This is easy.
It is easy.
Fortune.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, it's Fortune.
Team Canada.
And AJ Styles.
Scott D'Amore, Robert Roode, Eric Young. End of discussion. Team Canada!
No, you're wrong.
It made stars. What the fuck did Fortune do? They got grouped up with Immortal. Well, because they were such a good game.
Well, that wasn't a good idea, but it was
Well,
good
it was part
before
of the
it was
faction.
Immortal.
I don't know. You don't get to pick and choose. Team Canada was all good. All good. Oh, and by the way, one of the members of Fortune, what faction was he in first?
Yes, you are correct.
Thank you! Team Canada wins.
He's
Scott
still
D'Amore,
wrong.
FTW.
So wrong.
@WWE TNA fan 1220, favorite faction of all time?
Goes down to either the Horsemen or the Freebirds. I'm going with the Horsemen because they were probably the first one that was nationwide, whereas the Freebirds at that time were kind of
They just happened to work in a lot of
right.
different
They were very
territories.
territorial.
Favorite faction of mine, I have the Nation of Domination in terms of just being a favorite.
Oh, that's a shock.
Yeah, no, imagine that, right? Another favorite faction of mine, even though it got a bit overwhelming in the fact that they kept pushing two individuals too damn much, but ultimately, when you look at Evolution and what it did, all four members were better off because they were in it.
Sure.
They made everybody better, and they made two main event stars out of it.
Right.
So that was my favorite faction from a creating stars and building for a future standpoint. Favorite member of the Four Horsemen?
Flair.
Woo! Tully Blanchard for him, and I will go with the Enforcer, Arn Anderson.
I said Flair.
@BlackFox86, what's your most and least favorite TNA faction of all time? Most favorite, your favorite TNA faction of all time.
My favorite?
Yeah.
I'm going back to Fortune. I like Fortune. At the time when Fortune was created, I liked it.
Team Canada, for me, least favorite faction of all time?
Yeah.
I've got three, and it's hard to choose. Sports Entertainment Exchange.
Sports Entertainment Exchange. And
Immortal.
Or Aces and Eights.
And Aces and Eights.
I'm going Sports Entertainment.
I'll go Immortal, just because when that was at the top, that shit was just so bad.
Yeah.
And it did nothing but hurt the company. Sports Entertainment Exchange, that was Russo shit, and that was way back when, so I'll give them a pass on that. Aces and Eights isn't done yet.
The jury's
It
still
could
out on
be,
that.
but I'll go Immortal. Not even close to me. Disco Ben. What hurt the NWO the most in the end besides Jeff Jarrett? And that hurt him a lot.
But even then,
By then it was already gone.
there was just too many people in it. I mean, it became at a point a running joke is that who wasn't in the NWO?
And it was hard to think.
I mean, Sting was in the NWO.
They didn't keep characters separate. You had
No.
everybody in the group. It became big schmas of people, kind of like with an Immortal or with an
Yeah.
Aces and Eights. The focus, you have the old guys leading the way. The young guys that are in the group, they're supposed to be getting over. They're not. They're getting
Exactly.
overshadowed, and the focus goes on the old
Right,
guys.
and then the people that were so hardcore against the NWO, such as a Sting, such as a Randy Savage, everybody, well, they were all a part of a faction.
Are you
at that time.
NWO or are you Wolfpack?
Are you NWO red or white?
Ah,
or are you
shut the
LWO?
fuck
or
up.
are you, yeah.
It got to the point where they
It's just-
ruined their own thing.
Exactly.
And by the time you got to NWO 2000, I don't even need to go there.
Exactly.
Faction that had the biggest impact in wrestling history.
I think the Freebirds are up there, but I think the Four Horsemen are going to go ahead and take this one
I think it's not even
because
close.
every faction was built upon what they
And
did.
it launched a lot of guys onto big careers
Right.
on their own. So
Right.
Peter Jacobs 93. How did you feel when Hogan was revealed as the third man of the NWO? It pissed me off. I said I was never going to watch wrestling again, and then about 2 weeks later, I started pretty much only paying attention to WCW, and that became my product for a while. Even though wrestling wasn't reaching me at that time, the one thing that was I wanted to see what they were doing with Hogan. They took my hero and made me despise him, and as a result, I wanted to see him at that time get his ass kicked, and I loved every minute of it.
Me, I already hated Hogan. I hated Hogan from day one. So when he changed, yeah, it kind of surprised me. But you know what? It gave me more reason to hate him. And everybody else joined me for hating him. So yeah, it was good.
At the beginning, and then they became the coolest thing in wrestling. So
I
then
still
everybody
hated
started
him.
chanting.
And I still hate him now.
I know you do. He's not Tully Blanchard, so you don't like him. At Forces of Random, a funny question. Do you like female factions, or what's your favorite female faction of all time? I know you have one female faction that you want to mention. This is fucking...
Okay. Since I can't think of anything better, I'm going with Glow.
The gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
Yeah, Glow. Isn't that a faction?
Yeah, Ivory came from there. Fuck it, we'll call them a faction. They
Yeah.
were a brand, so they're a faction. They were
Faction.
a group of ladies.
Yes. How about you?
Yes, we'll go there. And NUFC Muzzy. Which faction was more successful overall? The NWO or DX?
Overall,
Yeah,
DX.
I'll have to go DX, even though the NWO may have burned hotter when it was at its brightest. Ultimately, DX was in the company that lasted.
Right.
So I guess that's the way to put it. At Bavcena66, would you reunite the Nexus with current members on the roster and fix what WWE messed up in 2010?
No. Nexus is dead. Thank God.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it'd be nice to be able to go back. Would I like to go back in time in 2010 and say, hey, assholes, this team should not lose to Team Wonder Kids fucking Cena at SummerSlam 2010? Would I like to fix a lot of that shit? Oh, yes. But it's too late now. You're already too far gone.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Bring up the whole NXT roster? They're not going to do that.
I mean, what are they going to do? Put Wade Barrett in a spot and then take him to a point and then stop pushing him? And he's going to... Oh, they're already doing
They
it.
did that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Part 2 of the Q&As there.
Ghost!
At Connor the Divine, how long do you think the original Nexus could have lasted for if booked correctly?
I would certainly hope they would have at least lasted around 18 months, but that didn't even come close.
Maybe WrestleMania 27 at the
Yeah,
worst.
at a minimum.
For a storyline, it took so much time and got so much focus, it didn't even make it to Mania. That's disappointing. Wow. Awesome Leopard wants to know for both TNA and WWE, with the current talent, what faction would you build? With who, why, and to what end? I'll take the WWE portion. Mine would be the Breakfast Club. We get 4 members each. I'm taking Triple H. I'm taking John Cena. I'm taking Randy Orton. I'm taking Sheamus. And we're going to make a fucking Breakfast Club. And it's going to be the greatest heel faction of all time. They're going to be talking about not wanting to do the job, brother. Not settling for the 1-hour main event, brother. They're going to demand pay-per-view main events, brother. They're only going to wrestle at pay-per-views. So that way you've got guys like Miz and CM Punk. They join the faction, but they're the jobbers. You get what I'm saying? They just do the jobs. They get the dry cleaning for these guys. They're kind of like the The Horace Hogans, if you will.
Okay.
TNA faction for you?
I would have to say AJ Styles, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode. And who do I throw in there for a fourth? I'll throw in Jeff Hardy.
There you go. My faction wins. At Andrew_Duxbury. Was JBL's cabinet the worst main event faction ever? I don't know if it was really a main event faction, but it's one of the worst factions of all time.
Yeah.
Not called Legacy. Legacy to me is the worst faction of all fucking time. Don't even go there. At Ahmed_LW. Your opinion about the Radicals and why they didn't succeed more as a group?
Probably because the WWF, I guess at the time, did not feel like pushing them correctly, i.e. Eddie Guerrero,
Benoit,
and Dean Malenko didn't even get a shot.
Yeah, he started getting hurt and everything,
Yeah.
and I think Saturn had his own problems too, and it's kind of one of those things that came along, and let's be honest, they came in at a time that the
lit them up almost.
Yeah, but the roster was also very loaded too.
Right.
So, and I mean, if you're looking, I've got people like Austin, I've got people like The Rock and Triple H and Taker and Kane and all these other fucks. Am I going to push them in the main event, or am I going to push Guerrero or Benoit?
Right.
To be fair, I mean, so yeah, they got their time though. At least those two did.
Yeah, those two did.
So the Radicals, you know, some of the members didn't ultimately end up being failures. Just one of them ended up being a psychopath child killer. At Troy Olshofer, create a dominating faction. Use one member from the Golden Era, Attitude Era, and PG Era. Golden Era would be the 80s, so you're going to choose Flair.
Oh, yeah, easy.
And I'll choose Hogan. Attitude Era,
Austin.
I'll take Rock. And PG Era,
Oh, wow. Cena.
I'll take God. I win. At W. Rain Foster, worst faction of all time, Legacy.
I can't argue.
At Air Guitar Skills, if Nash never tore his quad in 2002, do you think a DX versus NWO feud would have happened?
I think it probably could.
You had all those members of the Click back together, and you think they were going to have a fucking feud and hog the top spot? Hell yeah, it would have happened. It lasted 12 months or longer.
Well, they did. Well, Triple H and Nash did eventually have that one Hell in a Cell match. But
Well, they actually had a feud in 2003, really. Candy Lick, 21 asked, do you think Nation of Domination was underrated? A little bit.
Yeah, well.
Do they deserve to get in the WWE Hall of Fame as a group?
No.
Yeah, probably not. Favorite member of Nexus? Michael Tarver. I'll go a little bit under the radar.
That is under the radar.
Absolutely. That's my dude.
McGillicuddy.
Name was one not part of the original Nexus. He came in.
He came in.
Yeah, I know. He came in, him and Husky, but all right, fine, McGillicuddy. You can have him.
Daniel Bryan.
There you go. That's better. They will love you now. He was there for all of one appearance.
One appearance.
Greatest Nexus member of all times. Chick-fil-A 2004. Who would have been the third member of the NWO if no Hogan? Probably Sting.
Easy, yes.
Or Luger or Macho Man. Probably would have been a couple other options.
It would have been Sting.
Probably. And they've even talked about it before. Dakota, did you, if you could make a Survivor Series Ultimate Factions, with which factions would you put on each team? Also, who would win? You'd probably go Horseman versus DX.
Yeah.
Or NWO versus DX, or Horseman versus NWO.
We already had the Horseman versus NWO. Remember that Jeff Jarrett thing?
Yeah, shut up. Never again.
Yeah.
At Cyanide Rain. Which stable should have stayed together longer and which stable shorter? Stable that should have stayed together longer? Nexus.
Yeah.
Shorter?
They had an opportunity there.
Legacy. At WWE TNA_Fanatic, do you think the Shield is the best stable in WWE since Evolution? Could be.
Could be.
It's
getting there.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Right.
But it could be.
Yeah.
At WWE Galaxy, would you agree that the Shield put on not only the best in-ring debut in history, but the best six-man tag match? No, don't get too fucking carried away. Best in-ring debut in history? No, get the fuck out of here.
The debut day would happen in the ring.
I mean, come on. Great six-man tag matches, though? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Have they had a good debut and a good run so far? Yes.
Absolutely.
But I don't know about that. As far as the subject for our next Q&A, it's not determined yet as of this recording. It will be determined by the time this video is uploaded, and you'll see the subject will be in the comments section.
Down there.
Yeah, thanks, Metal D.
Yeah.